I have been talking about is not merely of theoretical interest. It has a great importance as far as practical matters, in fact, matters of survival are concerned. I would even go as far as saying that our civilization, the future of our civilization is at stake. What we have happening around us is a grand experiment with paper money. With paper money which is backed by nothing except false propaganda and false wishes. The history is proof that any experiment in paper money is doomed to failure. This has been true in ancient times. It has been true in the Chinese history, which, as we know, Chinese civilization predates our own civilization. They experimented with paper money there as well. After all, paper was invented in China, and ever since, in spite of the number of failures which we have had in history, governments come back again and again and they try the experiment hoping that this time it will work. Well, I have spent over 50 years studying history, studying economics, and trying to find out if there is any justification of the government claim that this time it's different. This time the experiment will succeed. This time, the first time in history, they will cover the whole world. The experiment covers the entire globe. Not just one country or a few countries, but all the countries of the world without exception are using paper money. Now, the basis why I am so positive on saying that this experiment is going to fail just like all the previous experiments in history is because the idea is that the government can do something which ordinary citizens cannot, or central banks under the control of governments can do something which ordinary citizens cannot do. And if an ordinary citizen does it, it is he is against the criminal code. But if the government does it, or if the central bank of the government does it, then it's all right. It's acceptable. It's even praiseworthy. It's a positive thing. Well, what is this thing? This thing is that if I, as an individual, issue promises, paper promises signed, sealed, and delivered, and after I have put it in circulation, then I can stand aside and say, that's all. I'm not taking any further responsibility for these promises. If I do that, like Charles Ponzi, the famous Italian-American, did it in the 1920s, then you are up against the criminal code. You are going to be taken to court and held responsible. But if the government does it, if the central bank of the government does it, and it's dressed up as doing it for the people at large, doing it because it's the democratic thing to do, it's for the protection of the weak, and so on and so forth. Dress it up with ideology, then it's all right. Well, I am very positive on this, that you cannot have double standard in justice. If you have a law which governs the behavior of the citizens, you've got to make the government obey the same laws. Because once you have a double standard, then the morale is going to evaporate. Then nobody will take the laws seriously. The government cannot unilaterally exempt itself and say, oh, I made promises, but that's just a formality. After all, look at how people like quantitative easing, how people like more money. And it's Goethe's famous drama, Faust, Dr. Faustus, and the paper money scene, which everybody should read, and schools should teach it, along with other famous dramas and poems of world literature. They don't. They don't. But there is an eternal justice, and this is the bottom line, that there cannot be double standard. The government has to obey the same laws which the government enforces for human beings. So this experiment with paper money is doomed. It's not going to succeed. And we are seeing the first cracks in that building. We have been told ever since 1971, August 15th, 1971, when the United States actually defaulted on its obligations, international monetary obligations, to pay gold at the rate of $35 an ounce for the paper promises which the US government and central bank issued, and it was 4 sitting presidents solemnly confirmed that these are valid promises. Then Richard Nixon in 1971 said, sorry, the situation changed, forget it. We are not going to make good on our promises. So this is where the road leads, and one should be prepared for the worst.